Hi everyone, it's Amy. As promised, today we are going to talk about grief and loss, something that sadly I would say everyone has experienced in one way or another. You might wonder, why do we cover a topic like grief and loss in a sex offender rehabilitation program? Well, just like any other feeling, and the benefit of identifying your feelings, which is essential for discovering who you are and why you do the things you do, this is as much a part of your feelings as anything else. You may have had grief or loss in your life that is still affecting you to this day. So, the first question is, what do you consider loss? Loss means different things to different people. It can be the loss of a job. It could be the loss of someone who you love. It could be the loss of control. It could be the loss of your home. It could be the loss due to abortion or miscarriage. It can be the loss of a relationship, and that can be by divorce or death or moving away or change of circumstances. I know when we got to this topic in the prison where I was teaching, those guys were mourning their loss of freedom. Okay, so what does someone experience when they suffer a loss? Well, just as every person is different, every loss is different. And so there isn't just one answer. It really depends on the relationship between the mourner and whatever or whoever has been lost. The mourning process is often affected by the attachment that you had, and also the feeling that you had about that person or that thing at the time of the loss. All right, so a lot of things go into it. Mourning is a process. It is not a state of being. It is something you move through from where you were to where you're going to be in this new place in your life. In 1991, J. William Worden described 4 tasks of mourning, and you have to move through each of these tasks in order to have some healthy resolution to your grief. Now, the first one is accepting the loss. That sometimes takes a very long time, and it is not easy. This takes some time, sometimes a lot of time, and it involves not just an intellectual acceptance of the loss, but also an emotional one as well. Denying the loss, the meaning of the loss, or denying that it is irreversible, all of those are roadblocks. Number 2 is you have to work through the pain of the grief. We all do our best to avoid pain, right? So that's a normal and healthy thing. Nobody likes pain. However, avoiding the pain of the grief or the painful thoughts about your loss actually prolongs the pain. It doesn't lessen it. It prolongs it because you're not addressing it. It does not make it go away by avoiding it. If you decide not to feel, then this is again another roadblock. Next, you have to adjust your environment because now you are without that person or without that object. So you have to understand they're missing in your life, and now your environment changes. You may need to develop new roles for yourself, for others, a new family system, a new sense of yourself or of the world. All of these things can challenge the values we have and the way we operate. Not adapting is yet again another roadblock. All right, now the last step is that you have to emotionally relocate this person or this object in your life. Not literally, but in a figurative way. You need to evolve some ongoing relationship with the thoughts and the memories of that person or that thing in order for you to continue on with your life. Not allowing that to happen is once again another roadblock to healthy resolution of your grief. So this grief, is it healthy? Is it normal? Well, it might not feel that way because you may feel sick. I mean, really physically sick when you're grieving. and emotionally sick. So it doesn't feel healthy, but it is not unhealthy to feel that way when you're grieving. It is somewhat of a departure from total health, but at the same time, it's a process of healing. With all healing, there is pain and discomfort. You have to adapt to loss so you continue to grow and develop as a person. So, is grief normal? What is normal grief? It is emotional distress. And that encompasses all the feelings, the physical sensations, the thoughts, the behaviors that are common. I'm going to post a list of feelings and physical sensations and thoughts and behaviors associated with grief on the Facebook page. It is not an exhaustive list, but is some of the most common things to keep in mind for anybody who's going through grief and loss. Now, any of these things in the extreme, any of these thoughts or feelings or behaviors in the extreme may be unhealthy and may be a sign that you need some psychological help. All right? When someone is suffering a loss, it's really hard to know what to say. We all want that very perfect thing we can say or that very perfect thing we can do for someone, and there is no such thing. The best thing you can do sometimes is just listen to them and accept their way of feeling. Everyone has a right to his or her feelings. We all experience a host of different feelings. Someone may feel hurt, they may feel angry, they may feel sad or disconnected. What you need to do is just acknowledge how someone is feeling and reassure them that it's okay to feel that way. So what is the grieving process? Well, it involves stages, and you might not go through all of them, or you might go through one stage and then you might regress. You might go back to the stage before. So what are the stages? Well, first there is denial and shock. It's hard to accept the death of a loved one. There's disbelief, there's amazement, there's devastation. Even if someone is very old or very ill and you were expecting that this would be the outcome, it is still very difficult. Once denial fades, you can talk and get yourself a little closer to reality. And then there is anger. You feel like, why me? Why is this happening to me? You might feel death is unfair. You might want to blame someone for it. Ask for support from friends and family or professional help if you need it. Talking about the anger you have is the best way to get through it. Next is bargaining. We've all done this. We've all tried this. You say you will give up a part of your life for the return of whoever died. Obviously, we know that does not work, but we all go through that stage. Then there's guilt. Feelings of guilt are endless and they are never comforting. Thoughts about what you could have done or you should have done. The bottom line is you need to forgive yourself, all right? Then there is the problem of depression. You're going to experience an empty feeling. You might feel isolated or sad or hopeless or lonely or afraid. The more you reach out to others, the more that feeling will actually decrease. It is really important to be patient with yourself. It is going to take some time for you to feel like your old self again. All right, and then there is acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean that you are okay with the loss or that you're happy about it. It just means that you accept the situation. Some days will be better than others. Some will be more painful. Some will be less painful. Sometimes you're going through your day and everything's fine and bing, you're brought right back to those thoughts. All right? But you will get through it. Things will get less painful and eventually you'll be able to look towards the future. Now, normally in this program, the next module is called Life Story. This is an assignment that you would do on your own. It's a bit of an archaeological dig of your life. So I'm going to figure out how to take you through this assignment because it is super helpful, super important. All right, this was a long one today, but well worth it, I'd say. Please subscribe to this channel. Get in touch with me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Join our Facebook group. And until I see you next time, be well.